Hello, listeners and viewers. Welcome to
our Looney planet. Ooh. Sorry, I had to do that. Couldn't resist. The reason why I did that is because I'm a child.
Hi, I'm Ian.
I'm Justine.
Back in the 90s, we hosted Lonely Planet.
Also known as Globe Trekker or Pilot Guides.
It's the first travel show of its kind.
300 million people watched us bounce all over the globe.
For 20 years.
Now we're back.
Welcome to our Looney Planet with Ian
and Justine.
Yeah!
Woohoo! Welcome to our Looney Planet, and this is our very first proper show. And who is our guest today?
Our guest is I thought someone was saying something. Megan McCormick, of course.
And the fortune big.
Woohoo!
Oh my gosh, there she is.
Hi, Megan. Wow.
Good morning.
How are you feeling?
I'm doing all right. I was thoroughly enjoying this Justine Ian banter moment. I was like, I know those voices. I know those characters. It's good to see you.
But the weird thing is, we've only met through this thing, really. It's the same as you.
Yeah.
You know, it's all nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, people, when people used to recognize me more, they would always go, do you know Ian? Do you know Justine? Do you know Ian? Do you know Justine?
Yeah, you go, yeah, they're wankers.
Like,
you know, talk to them.
yeah, we're besties.
Yeah.
We're on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
Well, Megan and I have stayed in close touch. Yeah. We live in the same country. We connect. We've connected many times over the years. So I know everything about Megan. So there. Yeah.
Megan.
Like I totally do. Yeah.
Well, why don't I just blank it off then? You just carry on, yeah?
So Ian.
Yes.
And Megan.
Yes.
Is this the first time the two of you have had a proper conversation?
It feels like it.
Yeah.
If this is a proper conversation, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Proper.
But yeah.
Everything we do is always proper.
I met you in the pub, but oh dear.
I vaguely remember I actually vaguely remember the pub one, but I really remember the one at the Discovery Channel or whatever that event was.
It's a prop.
Yeah. Hey! Oh my God!
That happened.
It did happen. Yes. God, blimey.
Yeah. Wow.
Isn't that crazy? How long
Isn't
ago
that
was that?
cool?
How long ago was that?
So that's Ian Cross, who created the show. Mm. Ian Cross, Megan, Ian, Justine.
Wow. Long time ago. So, what the hell have you been up to? I know nothing. So have you been doing telly stuff?
What have I been up to? I don't know. That's a lot of time to cover. I don't know about how time is feeling for you all, but I just went back to India for the first time since I went for the show, which was 25 years ago. And that was the wildest time warp because when I went to India the first time, I was like, this is magic. I will be here again and again, forever and ever.
I've seen some things on this journey that I never could have imagined. But the one thing that will really remain with me will be the openness of the people that I've met and how willing they've been to talk to me. People return to India time and time again, and I know that I will definitely come back.
And then life went on its own journey, and I went back for the first time 25 years later.
Wow.
So that was a wild time.
Yeah.
Because I feel
you went with your daughter, didn't you?
Yeah. And she's just slightly younger than I would have been when I started Globe Trekker.
Oh, let's start with that. We would like to know, I'm speaking for Ian. Oh, I'm going to have to do that quite a bit now that we have a guest on. I'm going to have to speak for Ian. Ian, you can speak for me too. You're welcome to speak for me too. Ian and I would like to know how you got the job.
How I got the Globe Trekker job.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, as the story goes, as it's told through the time and tale of life, I was dating an actor at the time.
And darling.
He had recently broken up with me for one of many times. And but he saw in the Backstage magazine, which was a tangible paper from the 90s where actors would find out about auditions.
Yes.
Remember that? In New York, especially. I don't know if you guys had it where you were. He saw this ad looking for a travel show host to go to Nepal, but must be interested in this, that, and the other. And you need a headshot and resume and submit it. But I didn't have a headshot or a resume because I wasn't an actor and I had no experience. So I made a collage of pictures, like a book report from the 8th grade, 7th grade, maybe even 3rd grade, of pictures from when I had traveled and lived in Japan.
Wait. Let's just get clear. Your audition was a collage.
Yeah, it's a collage. I put in a collage, like a poster board. I went to the drugstore. I got a poster board. I taped pictures on it from my travels. And then on the back, I wrote this very, very deep poem about it's the journey that matters. I was like, it's not the Taj Mahal. It's the cow you pass on the way or whatever. So, yeah. And I submitted that. And then the casting director was like, well, we've never had a collage before, so you may as well come in. And
Brilliant.
Then when I got there, I didn't think I would ever get it. So I wasn't nervous. 3,000 people applied. They called in a certain number of people to audition at the casting agent's office. And so they had a whole room set up and they had some tchotchkes on a table and they just asked a series of questions.
Wait, was Ian
round one? No.
Was Ian Cross there?
No, this was just on tape. This was culling through the 3,000 to several hundred.
And then they'll send the tape to Ian Cross once they've sort of vetted it, yeah?
Yeah. But there's a good part of this story.
Go on.
Quick, it's a little tangential, but let's go. So I had to pretend I was somewhere on the planet and tell the audience about it. And like I said, I've never done any hosting or acting, so I'm just making this stuff up. And so I closed my eyes and I was like, okay, I'm in the middle of Tiananmen Square. Like to the right of me is the Great Hall of the People. To the left of me is the National Art Museum. In front of me is Mao's mausoleum. And behind me is the Forbidden City. Because I had traveled there, so I could put myself in the situation. But maybe 5 years later, I was literally standing in Tiananmen Square doing exactly that piece to camera.
From that balcony on October 1st, 1949, Mao Zedong stood and announced the People's Republic of China. He uttered these famous words, "China has arisen." Ironically, he declared this at the gates of the Imperial Forbidden City. Even Mao respected its significance to the Chinese people, and so it was here that he built the largest public space in the world, Tiananmen Square.
I remember it. I was like, this is wild.
That's brilliant.
This is wild. So,
wow, that is wild.
And what was your first show?
West India.
I've come from the opposite side of the world in order to experience one of the ultimate traveler's destinations, India.
Have you seen it recently?
Bits and pieces, yes.
How does it make you feel?
Oh, uncomfortable.
And then sometimes horrible seeing
Sometimes
yourself.
Horrible.
Yeah, not seeing you, seeing me, myself.
Yeah.
What did you think watching yourself?
God.
I mean,
when was the last time you saw yourself on Globe Trekker? When was the last time you watched yourself in a Globe Trekker?
Or on anything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I rarely watched any of the shows.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a thing I did. So I haven't seen many of them all the way through. Maybe like right after I would get like the VHS. Y'all, I remember when they sent me the VHS tape of India and I put it in the machine and it started playing the song. And I nearly died. I just couldn't actually believe it. And then I heard my voice come in. I was like, this is really happening? What? Yeah. It was so exciting because you two were already kind of like growing in what you were representing and what you were doing and how the show was such a unique thing. So I had seen it. I was aware of it. I was a fan of both of you. And then all of a sudden, like in this weird twist of fate, there's my voice, my experience, and that song.
Yeah.
Wow.
I still can't, when I see the programs, like, because the same as you, I never watch them. It's too absurd to get your head over. It's too nuts, isn't it? You're like, I say, there's me walking around talking. How did I get that? It's just off the planet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just can't get my head right. Just as much as I don't know how a plane stays in the sky. Why am I there? How did I get there? But it was done.
Yeah, it's like on so many levels. It's like you look at yourself in a show you did 30 years ago and you think, okay, my brain just can't really do this weird memory thing where I am that person 30 years ago in that place. And then constantly it's like, fuck, how'd I get that job? How'd I get that fucking job? I can't believe I got that job.
Yeah.
Now we wouldn't get it unless we had at least 100 or 200,000 Instagram followers and we're influencers. Right, that would be the only way that we would get that job now.
So Megan, when you saw your West India show just now, I mean, really, it's the first time you've seen yourself in a Globetrotter show in a long time. I don't know. Did you show your kids the episodes of Globetrotter when they were growing up?
Occasionally, I'd be like, "Oh, you're interested in orangutan? Let me take you to Indonesia, child."
I'm tempted to tickle you, but I know that's a bad idea. Yes, it is, Megan.
And they were like, "Nah, not interested. Oh, you're interested in whale sharks? I just no. Okay."
I loved watching your West India show, Megan. You look so. It was just so the heart of who you are. Like you wanted to do the right thing. Like you were a little nervous in your PTCs, your piece to camera, and you were so excited. I could just feel like you were just containing. Like you were just. I felt like the inside of you was going, I cannot believe I'm here. I'm doing this. I cannot believe I'm here. That's how I felt watching you do your first show.
Well, I had a huge dissonance between once I was a contender for the job and then I got the job. They're like, if you can leave in 2 weeks, you have one show only. It's to India. Yeah. And that was that. And I was like, I quit my job at MSNBC. I gave up my apartment, got on a plane. I went to London. I met Ian. I met Angela Gorley, amazing producer. Man. And I didn't talk the entire lunch. And I look back, I'm like, were they terrified? Like, did we just hire a presenter who can't actually speak? Because I'm actually really shy. Like people that know me from back in the day, they're like, when I saw you on TV, I was shocked because you are so shy. So I had to override a lot. So we were like, finally, I get all the way to India. We're almost to the Camel Festival. Somebody gives me a radio mic and some things to say. And that's the first time I actually understood what my job was. Wow. And I was like,
yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
So do you remember?
Insane.
Do you remember your very first piece to camera you ever did?
100%. I have a giant backpack and I just have to walk down some stairs lined by people who are all staring at me and say like, here I am in Pushka. There's a camel festival that happens every year, something, 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 something.
Most of these people are here right now because of the annual religious festival. And so just on the other side of all of this excitement is the big lake where most of the religious rites are performed. And I'm going to head over that way now.
But I was like, my voice was so tremulous that the sound recordist would just nod his head like that and kind of shake. And the director would be like, could we do it again? Could we just do it one more time? And Tim would be like, you gotta go.
Please
how many
do
times
it one
did
more
you do
time.
it?
Oh, so many times.
Oh,
so many.
Was that the first time you'd experienced doing takes?
Yeah, girl. I've never done anything on camera. Can we just repeat that? Like they hired somebody with literally zero experience.
And you got tons of, especially India, you got tons of people staring at you, and everyone's like, oh my God, there's the camera, there's something, there must be a film star. And it's just you or me or Justine. Oh, here we are, and then look over there, that's they're there. And they're like, is that it? God.
Yeah.
So, Megan, I loved that scene in the West India episode. There's a scene that brought me right back where you are trying to figure out where to buy the ticket to get onto the bus.
Right now, my big trial is to find where I get the bus to Bikaner. I want to go to Bikaner. Bikaner. Can I buy a ticket here?
What is your country name?
America. I'm going to Bikaner.
Bikaner?
Yeah. Where can I buy a ticket?
You will get bus at 8:45.
8:45. Thank you very much. Hello. How are you? I want to go to Bikaner. Bikaner. Yeah. That'd be 8 hours on the bus.
Do you remember that?
Yes-ish. But I just lived it again, like almost the same thing in January with my kid, because we really tried to take public transportation when we could. And it was like, which is the place for this is not the train. It's over there. Okay. Up the stairs, over the stairs, down the stairs. Oh, this is not it. Up the stairs, back over the stairs, down the stairs. Go to the, yeah. It is still a lot like that.
I love who goes to a rat temple?
Yeah.
That's just so mental.
That's why they paid us the big bucks for moments like that.
It was just rats everywhere. Come on, what are we going to do? Let's go to a rat temple. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Madness, man. Madness.
I'm at the Karni Mata temple, which is filled with rats, who are supposedly incarnations of storytellers.
I can still feel the floor, because you take your shoes off to be respectful, and the idea is you shuffle your feet so that they don't crawl on you or you don't injure one of them, because then you've killed grandma again, and that's bad.
Hey, little fellow.
So that I can still feel the rat gifts of the rat's pee or whatever is everywhere under my feet. But I'm from New York. I'm fine with those creatures. I got it.
Yes, that's fair enough.
What was that like, kind of seeing those rats relative to your experience, your own personal experience with? I mean, had you ever seen really rats? Have you ever been around rats like that?
Yeah. What's your rat experience? This
Take us back
to another program. If this doesn't work, we're going to do something else.
I mean,
rat pictures. Yeah.
I don't know. I lived in New York, so I'm familiar. Like late night walking home with the friends scurrying, but they're kind of like bigger, slower, and meaner in New York. They were just like, they would stare me down, and I would cross the street to give them their birth. But this was just a lot to take in. Like, just to remember, this is my first experience on camera. This is my first time in India, which is a realm unto its own. And then just the sacredness of things was really apparent, and the meaningfulness to people who are visiting. So it's like I have my filter that I'm experiencing it in, and also the invitation to try to like dip into the story of it, to the sacred nature of it, to people's beliefs and what they're coming to. And that was the part I wanted to like lean into more and get over whether there were rats scurrying about or not. It's like, wow, this is really significant for people. I want to understand that. I want to feel a bit of it.
Yeah.
Do you remember feeling kind of shocked by anything as you started traveling
Of
the
course.
parts of the world? I mean, I imagine there are places that you went in those years where they had not seen a white blonde girl before.
Yeah, I remember two in particular. One was in West Africa when we were kind of way off the beaten track, and we showed up in a village, and like
which country was that?
It was, I think we were in Côte d'Ivoire. We were in Côte d'Ivoire, and I don't remember the story itself, but I remember the village and the warmth I was received with, and then this fear on this child, like looked at me and screamed and ran for its mom. And then a couple of other small children were also really scared. And she said, "Don't worry, they just think you're a ghost."
Wow.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I get that. And
Yeah.
wow. But you had that as well, Justine, in China, didn't you?
Yeah, like in the highlands of Vietnam and in the provinces of southwest China. I mean, when we were traveling in the 90s, there wasn't that much tourism in a lot of the world. And so, we would have been the first white people for some people to see. I started to realize that wasn't such an unusual thing. It was really weird the first time it happened. Like just
it's got to be
have the way and I always thought, like in the cartoons, when you see something weird or different or shocking or whatever, you'd have like a expression on your face of like, surprise. And I remember when we were in Southwest China, I remember that the way the people looked at me was, it's hard to put into words, but they would just sort of stand back and just look. No expression, no surprise, horror, delight, fear, none of it. Just a very kind of neutral expression, but like really, really, really looking like up and down and looking at me, up and down and looking at me, up and down, and just kind of looking like almost like when you're at the zoo and you're kind of looking at the animals from the top to the bottom. That's how it was. It was
freaky.
But yeah.
They must have been so freaked out, as well as you.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
No, I can't. Because I didn't have that experience. So it's just like weird. But I had the cartoon experience when your eyes go and your tongue goes out.
When did that happen to you? When
I met my wife, I was like, so that's all I was thinking when you were saying that. Don't tell me cartoons, because I'm just going to get that in my head now. Love it.
Megan, I wanted to ask you. There was a thing in the show in the West India show where you kind of referenced your tummy troubles in sort of oblique and direct ways, and that was always the first thing people would say to me is like, "Oh God, like where'd you get the worst diarrhea?" I have friends who ask
that amazing travel. Where did you shit yourself worst? Yeah. Oh. Nice.
Really? I don't know. Did anyone ever ask you, Megan, like where you had the worst diarrhea? If not,
they're asking you now.
No,
I think she's going to ask you.
Ian, you have to start thinking, because I want to know what your story is. But do you remember, Megan, where you had it the worst?
Girl, I had it the worst in so many different places. At least 7 different times. Then I discovered charcoal. Activated charcoal. It was in Morocco. We were on a shoot there, and it was a big day. There was a lot scheduled for one day, and I woke up and I was in so much pain, doubled over, and they had a French doctor come and gave me all of these things. And then I took some activated charcoal, and it didn't cure me, but it made me be composed enough to do my job that day.
Over a night or something of taking
it was like a few hours later, and it just started to kind of, I don't know how it works. Any chemists in the room or online, let us know how that works. And then since then, it's been my go-to.
Okay, what do you get it in a tablet form, so you have to scrabble around an open fire?
You have to go over on an open fire. Yeah. You have to make a offering to the fire gods and the coal gods, and then if you're lucky, you might get something.
So in the West India episode, you say something that I loved hearing, which is someone offers you some food. And I think you said something like, if it doesn't kill me, I'll try it. Or, what's the YOLO credo? You only live once.
What is it?
Pani, water.
Oh, yeah, sure. Chili. Is it hot? Spicy?
Yeah, sweet.
You only live once. Yeah, sure. Let's go for it. Pani puri. Pani puri. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous. I've been kind of sick for a few days, but... You only come to Juhu Beach once.
I thought that's why they hired her, because she has that attitude.
It's kind of like a motto for life, though. It's one way to be, like turning toward the weirdness of an experience as opposed to blocking it off.
Well, the thing was that you're not forcing anything. You can see you're just going with everything that happens in yourself and being as honest as you can. Like when you take that chili... That's what made the program so good.
Cheers. Oh! I think I'm water coming out my nose. Definitely don't go for the chili unless you need a good kind of nasal cleaner outer. Oh, but it's very nice. Thank you.
No one was eating stuff from the streets when we were doing the show as well. There wasn't programs like that. And I love it. You're just like, whoa! And you're off. And he's laughing. And it is that, Oh.
Sweet. Do you have a sweet one?
Oh, sweet.
That's sweet? You promise? Okay, this is supposed to be sweet, but... Very nice, very sweet, kind of like an apple pie, deeply fried from a fair.
When I first saw both your shows in India, every time when food came up of what you ate in India, I was just like, oh, just heaven. The food there is just off the scale.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing about you, Ian, that you are a vegetarian or were a vegetarian, but no matter where you went, you would receive what was offered to you because that was that's where you were, and you respected that, and you actually appreciated it. And I really like that about you.
Yeah. I also realised that it'd be shit television if every time you went to eat something, because half the thing about in the country is the food. You know, that is the backbone to everything. So if you heard me on every show, oh, actually, I'm a vegetarian. Oh, no, what it is because animals and, you know, just you couldn't be a presenter to do that. Also, see, I turned vegetarian when I was about 12, 13, because sometimes when you're young, you're like, when I got to 28, I realised that it become sort of habit more than that I had that passion when I was 12. So when I got the job at around that time, it was just like, well, it's sort of habit anyway. And actually, I want to taste that. That looks nice. And I became a greedy piglet.
No, don't do like this. Only one hand with right hand.
Only my right hand?
Yeah, like
Why
this.
is that?
Because right work, right hand eating.
Right work, right hand.
Brahmin person eating like this.
All the way down to
Yes,
how
like
we
this.
eat our food. Okay.
This.
I don't think my table manners are the best. Okay. I kind of demolished that, but maybe I can scoop it up. It looks like a tortilla chip at this point.
So when you were eating with your right hand, like, was that the first time you ate with your hand? Tell us all.
Tell us all. I mean, yes, it was the first time I was like in a country or place where you directly ate with your hands. Great. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's just clean up. Like, get to like,
It's
I would
simple.
probably lick my fingers anyway. So great. Let's just make it polite. Yeah. I mean, even this last time when I was there after 25 years, there's so much happening in India all of the time, everywhere we looked. So it's that super like immersive experience in a way that not every country is. Some places
I
have
agree.
a little.
I think that when I was in India, when I was a bloody hippie, and I went around India for about
Ian
6
was
months.
a hippie. Ian was
told
a
you.
hippie. Ian was a hippie.
Sorry about that. I don't think there was one day where I didn't see something that didn't blow my mind. There's just every single day there's something, whether it's like a cow walking down the road with the biggest horns that you've ever seen in your life, or there's a guy with his head in the sand in the middle of the path of the road for no reason at all. It's just crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy.
Do you remember the moment in the show where you witness basically mob justice?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm in Goa. We're doing a story about the fish market, and we just hear this loud commotion and shouting. And then somebody's like going after somebody else, and I'm trying to figure out what's happening and don't know what to do, and somebody need help in some way. And then our fixer was like, no. This is their justice system. Don't think about it. This is how it's going to go. Don't worry about it. Mind your own business. Come over here. Not our problem. Not our, just move on. But it was so intense.
The man pickpocketed the fish lady. And so I can't see really what's happening. Is she
Beating. Is beating. Public are beating.
public beating? Is that how you deal with that kind of thing? No police.
No.
Just within yourselves.
And no
just-
police.
No police. No.
Were they? Did they feel funny about you filming it or not?
They were not
Didn't really
paying
care.
any attention to us. We were not part of it. It was almost like we weren't even there.
Yeah, so there was no awareness that, stop filming this because it's looking a bit funny.
It didn't seem like that.
Yeah,
It was just, it looked like this is what the next course of event would have been with or without us being witness.
But again, like we said with Justine, that is also the strength of the program. Something happens and you're just there and you just film it. And you know, and it says so much about the country and like say the justice and everything.
And the other thing is, it's hard to remember this, I think, in the context of today with everyone filming things from their tiny little phones. But I mean, our camera was, 2 2.5 feet long. The tripod was massive. Yeah. Everything was massive. It wasn't like we could be inconspicuous when we were filming, but people didn't really seem to pay that much attention to us.
It felt like once they got accustomed to us being like, there was sometimes like a lot of curiosity initially. And then, it takes a while to film what we do. So it kind of, they get bored of us. I feel like we're okay. We've seen that now. We're bored. And then we would just become part of the furniture. It's like, oh, those people are just doing that. And there was probably, I wonder if there was less awareness about the filming aspect because people weren't being filmed. And now it's like, oh, somebody's got a camera and they're going to see something somewhere. So just more awareness about that.
Do you remember where you are bargaining and then you say, you seem a little uncomfortable bargaining, like, oh God, why am I even going? Like, he doesn't have to pay anything, but you kind of know that you're supposed to bargain. And then you throw in a Pepsi at the end.
How many pieces you want?
I want one. I want this one. I'll take 2 if you give me a deal.
Okay.
400 for both.
Make a better price. Happy for me, happy for you. 475.
400 for both.
450, okay? You're breaking my heart?
I'm sorry. I don't want to break your heart, but how about I give you 400, I'll go buy you a Pepsi and bring it to you.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
I feel like I was being nudged to do the bargaining by some well-meaning director or producer types. Like the story is, in India, you bargain for everything. And I have my own kind of way of operating, so I probably don't do it exactly like that. But also, it's my first time. I'm brand new. And I'm like, okay. And I feel like I asked the fixer. So I don't know if you've explained who the fixers were, the very important role in different countries, the locals who would help us make things happen more easily. And I could check in. I was like, is this just rude? Like, what are we doing here? Like, economically speaking, this feels disrespectful ultimately. And they're like, no, you can't, because every time you raise the price, you raise it for everybody. So you need to haggle. Like, you need to do this for the good of all, so that it's just not, because if they can see that they can get away with 5 extra dollars or rupees for you, then everybody's going to be affected. So bargain, girl, bargain.
My gosh. So that's really like a responsibility especially if you're doing it on camera, because you're basically setting the rate for that thing.
I guess. I mean, that was what they said to me in that moment in time.
Well, when I was in Morocco and we were in Marrakesh, we had gotten there just a couple of weeks after. This was not for Globetrotter. This was something else. I was there in the 80s. And Dustin Hoffman had just done this huge, massive, multi-million-dollar film with Isabella Gianni called Ishtar. If I recall, I can't believe any of this is going back to me. Ishtar, like multi-million-dollar film. And Dustin Hoffman had gone to the markets and basically paid whatever the carpet sellers were selling for. He wasn't bargaining. And so everybody was really distraught. The merchants in that part of Morocco, Marrakesh, were really distraught because the economy for the carpets was so volatile, because nobody knew what to charge anymore, because Dustin Hoffman had paid just huge prices. But like, he had bought out so many of the stalls and he had paid so much more money than they would typically have sold them for. And it kind of made me think, oh gosh, this whole bargaining thing, everybody on both sides has to be really responsible. It's not a one-way street, figuring out the cost of things that affects a whole community.
It's alien to our world in a way, like in England. Oh, no, I just have that. But yeah, you got a haggle. Oh, I love it. Love a haggle. Megan, after you'd done the first one, when you got back home, how did it feel? Was it like a dream? Was it surreal?
Well, it didn't play out exactly like that. So when I was offered the job, they're like, one show only, you're going to India. Yeah. And my intention was just to stay there, because I was like, I've got a little money. I just paid off my student loan and I could live in India. That's great. But toward the end of the shoot, there was a Hawaii episode that was coming up, and the host, wasn't either of you, wasn't able to do it. And so I heard Ian Cross call the producer director of our show and was asking questions about me. And I watched this British woman go, oh, yes, she's brilliant. And you know, like when British people call you brilliant, it doesn't necessarily mean you are brilliant. So I watched her say that. Yeah, and she couldn't really like give him a full report because I was sitting right there. And so then he got on the phone. He's like, well, if you can, there's another episode in Hawaii and we need a host for it. So I flew from Delhi. I had one night in New York City. My friend worked at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square. So she put me up for $30 employee rate. And then the day after that, I flew to Hawaii.
It's the most isolated island on the planet. Some say it's paradise on Earth. Surrounded by the biggest waves in the world. Hawaii!
Ian, you told me something about how the show was initially sort of conceived to be one presenter at a time.
Yes. Yeah.
What was that? Tell me that again.
The original idea of the program for getting the presenters was going to be every single, so they were batches of 6 they went out with, so every single program would be different presenters on each episode, and then you wouldn't see them again. Thinking the freshness of it, that might be quite good. So you've got, you'll get so many different views of different things. They're quite interesting, plus probably financial, don't have to pay them so much because they don't know nothing about telly. Like we didn't know when we first done it. Oh yeah, I'll do it for a tenner. Oh thanks, yeah. Which I bloody would have done. God, anywhere. To get that phone call for Hawaii straight away is just, it just must have been, it's just too good. I remember when I first did the first few, I was like, please God, I'll never pray to you again, but if I can squeeze 3 years out of this, I won't ask for anything else, because that seems so absurd. And then we were there for ages. Just madness, wasn't it? Oh, man. All right, when you got back from Hawaii, did it feel madness?
Yeah.
I mean, how did you feel? It's
Hawaii
just like,
was a little easier because I was like, okay, when I was in Hawaii, I was like, well, by now they're looking at the rushes from India and I'm never going to work again. Like they're going to see right through me. They're going to be like, what was that hot mess?
Whoa,
and that was it. So I was like, okay, so I relaxed a little bit. I was like, I wasn't putting any pressure on myself because in my mind, it was like, I'm busted. They know I'm done. Yeah. And then they gave me a show. The third show was Egypt. And
how far was that from when you came back? Or
a couple of months. It wasn't long.
Really? So they kept you sweating a little bit?
Oh, yeah. He's kept me sweating for years. For years, Ian would be like, one more show. That's the last one.
Oh,
Don't get your hopes up, kid.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it was for me.
Well, when I did Brazil, that was exactly, I was shitting myself. First one, it's just this. What am I going to do? I've never done this before. Are you mad? All this money, all this organisation, and I'm the monkey in front of the camera. I'm always like that. Then 3 days before I left, I just thought, actually, I don't actually care at all because I would have been to Brazil for 4 weeks of my life, and you can't take that away from me, even if I screwed the whole thing up. So what? I'm going to Brazil for 4 weeks. Because that was the action that you thought you was only doing one. Wow.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, at that time, the people who were deciding whether we stayed or not initially were kind of the suits. And then I guess at some point I don't know how they figured out that our audiences liked us. I mean, it wasn't like today where with social media, immediately who's watching you and for how long and where they're from and how old they are. And like, the analytics of who your audience is it's like the thing now. But we didn't know who was watching us back then. I mean, I didn't really have a sense that I was speaking to an audience. Did you guys?
Are you kidding me? If any part of my brain had allowed that in, there's no way I would have been able to do it. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But
I remember when it was weird when the first program came out, because then you're gone from being someone that you just gone on a jolly filming and you still can't really mentally deal with that, to now it's shown on television. And now one or two, did you do that program the other day? That's fucking weird.
When you start getting recognized.
Well, and it's just the physical thing of it coming out on telly. And, you know, people have like, I was in the kitchen and I heard your voice. I went in there and you was on the telly. I'm like, that's the first time I knew. And it's just, and then people are, you know, and then writing articles and stuff, you know, that sort of slow ball, that really scared the bejeebers out of me, all that. That was hard to like deal with.
And when people watched Globe Trekker Lonely Planet, they saw quite a lot of it because they were watching on actual television screens, not on tiny little phones. Yeah.
Did you get bitten by a monkey? Somebody got bitten by a monkey.
Oh, that was Jez in Vietnam. Jez was bitten by a monkey and had to get a rabies shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and our director in Nepal got bit up the arse by a monkey. Which was hilarious.
How do you do that? What position was he in? Did he sit on it by accident, or was he climbing?
He stood on a baby monkey. I was in a monkey temple in Kathmandu, and we're like, the monkeys are everywhere. There's macaques that would rip you to shreds within 3 seconds. I mean, yeah, they look fun, but you know you're going down. And they're everywhere. And we're like, how do the monks deal with it? And then we look up there, and the monk's got a big bamboo, and all these monkeys are like, and I was standing in the middle with, and the director, Carl Heimuch, had a Super 8. Remember, you used to have them Super 8 cameras, the film cameras. He was walking around me, and I could see all these monkeys on the floor. I'm thinking, he must know. And he was like, anyway, he walked on, and then he often stood on this baby and flicked it off with his foot. And I was like, oh, and the rest of them were, and they were like, we was like, oh my God, there was like monkey. And he hid behind me and pushing me forward. And then, but they knew it was him. And then a monkey out of a tree just came on, grabbed to the back of his belt and just went, and took a big bite out of his ass. And he was like we do as blokes. So like, no, don't worry about it, it's nothing. Didn't even break the skin. And then he pulled his trousers down. It was like a cartoon monkey bite on his, like, with blood and everything. And we was like, shit. So we were like, oh my God, went back into the van. And we was actually reading, Chris was reading the Lonely Planet book to see what it said. And it says, be careful with the monkeys at the temples because they always fight with dogs. So there's a high chance that monkeys could have rabies. So if you get bit by a monkey, go to a doctor's, or death could be imminent. And we were like, and we was like, oh, okay. And he was like, down there, rabies injections. Hilarious.
It's amazing. I mean, given that there was no health and safety whatsoever, I can't believe we all, like, that nobody was killed in the making of that show. Ian, I just found a shot of you literally jumping across a small waterfall. You nearly don't make it.
Blimey.
And there's another one of you jumping between trains, but this one of you jumping across this part of a waterfall. I mean, you nearly didn't make it. Do you even know what I'm talking about?
No, that's how old I am. No, but also, even like when you see the programs, you've forgotten certain bits because you've had so many experiences that it's like some little things you forget, like that. If I saw it, I'd be like, oh God, yeah, of course I remember it. But when you're there, what
you just move on to the next thing. You watch the show and you do the voiceover and you never think about it again.
But there was always, I had a limit. There was always, I'd never want to die for telly. I couldn't think that how dull and how stupid that would be. So most things like jumping from the top of trains, you knew you could do it. There's only a few things. When I saw the Cuba one recently, when I'm on like a rodeo on a bull.
This has got to be the most stupidest thing I've ever done.
No, they only drag out a little baby one, but it's got, horns. If you fall on that, it's not going to do you too well. You weren't filling in forms of health and safety and it was going to somebody go, well, just going to take an assessment on that. No chance.
Did anything, do you remember scary moments for you or Megan when you were when you went further than you might normally? Because the crew's like counting on you, right? You've got they're counting on you to do this thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the the gem mine in Sri Lanka is famous, like in my lived experience, because that was so freaking dangerous.
I cannot tell you how scared I am of this. Oh my gosh. Hold on tight.
It was climbing down with these wooden logs that are pretty far apart, that are slippery because it's very humid. And so climbing down like 200 feet into the ground and then going through these tunnels where the water was up to our thighs.
Okay, this is not at all what I was expecting. Ah! It's slimy. It's rocky. It's hot. Why am I here?
Because we don't know exactly where we're heading, and we head into this one little room and I can't really breathe, and then somebody's like, there are methane gases down here.
But it is so hot down here. Very hard to breathe. I don't know how much longer I want to stay.
Then finally, I think it was Neil Harvey again, who was the cameraman. He was like, do you know what? This is actually really dangerous. And so we all of these electronics are now like with the water up to here and weird bugs floating around are crawling back out of the tunnel to climb up 200 feet. And we come out, we emerge, and we're just like dirty and slimy. And I was physically shaking.
Again, probably one of the scariest experiences of my entire life. Oh my God.
So then coming up and just kind of like, okay, that was a big one. So yeah. That was
that
real.
story sums it up completely. You're going down the mine, you don't even know what you're going to do. You don't know where you're going, but you're going further and further, and the air's running out, and you're smelling gas, and everyone's knackered, and it's like, oh, let's go back again. Nothing here. That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. That is.
And what was the other one you were going to say,
The
Megan?
other quick one was after I had my daughter. So now I'm a mom. I'm a parent in the world doing these things. And we were in this southeastern states. I don't know what the episode was.
In the U.S.
In the U.S., southeastern USA. And we were doing a story about like a flying story. And they're like, you can stand on the wing of this airplane like they do, like a propeller plane. Right?
Yeah.
Two layers. And so they had this apparatus and they were explaining to me that no, we don't really tie you in. There's no real thing to keep you safe because the force of the wind and the motion of the plane will just keep you pushed back against this when you go up in the air. And I'm like, yo, I don't know about that. And so they're all discussing it. And they are at this point calling the office and making sure it's safe. And like, what is the liability? And the producer's like, Megan, I really don't want you to do it. I was like, but I think I can do it. It makes sense. Like physics, yo. And then I'm standing up there and then it starts to rain. And then we're just about to take off and then they stop. They're like, we can't do it if it's raining, obviously, because even if it's light rain, every pellet as you go forward feels like it's a small bullet. And I was starting to feel that. So it was wild because I had to really make a decision to do it, commit to saying, yeah, I'm good with it. We start to take off. So I'm overcoming my fear. And then it goes, we don't do it. So I feel like that is a box I still want to check off.
I was going to say, I bet you was absolutely gutted.
I was really annoyed.
Yes.
I really wanted to do it because I trusted it. I actually trusted everything about it.
And the excitement of doing it as well. I'm almost jealous. I was like, yeah, I'd like to do that.
Oh, I want to do it. Somebody make the show happen again and send me back.
But can I just say, the thing with the no straps, was that just a joke to wind you up?
No, it was true.
Stop it.
It was true.
They must have had straps.
There was a little flimsy belt that wasn't going to do anything if anything went wrong. No, it was like not designed for
that is brilliant.
Health or safety. Yeah, it was wild.
Don't worry, we're going forward. The wind will keep you in.
Yeah, you're going forward, so it's pushing you back. And then I was like, what about the end when we're slowing down? Don't worry, the other forces will keep your body down.
What other forces? What are they talking about?
The forces! Those other forces!
Oh, man. Yes, like we said, how come someone didn't die?
I don't know.
Madness, man. But
wouldn't change it for the world.
No, well, that was it. But of course, because it was exciting to do as well. And if you could push it, like something like that, go on a bloody plane with no straps. Everyone, when someone sees that program, they're going to go, "That's mental. She is nuts doing that." Yeah. And then what a good program is, next day someone's going, "Did you see Megan on the top of that bloody?" I'm like, yeah, she wasn't even strapped in and she went up there. I mean, but that's what makes a great program as well. Just these little crazy moments.
Well, and also from our perspective, we are seeing as presenters, we're seeing the camera person tethering themselves to the front of a truck or on the top of a truck or, hanging out the side of a helicopter, what seemed to us incredible risks.
Yeah, well, they were psychos, really.
Seriously.
In an absolute positive way.
Yeah.
Because we're not even in their league. They're not happy unless they've got one arm and the camera on there and the heavy of the camera swinging from the helicopter, going past you and that, hanging off the side of a truck or a train. They love it. They live for that.
Yeah, they're a particular breed, the Globetrotter camera sound teams, really high level, really good artistically. And they would each kind of have their own signature style, right? So Nigel Kinnings was lighting things beautifully and Neil Harvey was hanging out of places. And, they all had just such different signatures that became such a big part of what we were doing.
Yeah, and so good at that because I think if you're a cameraman your thing is travel, then you've done it so often, so you're so switched on. And Simon Niblett was the nuttiest.
Has it got any stabilisers?
And Tim Knight. Yeah, and
Georgie.
Oh, Georgie Burrell.
Georgie.
Too much excitement.
And Lynn. Lynn was amazing. Yeah, they always had to make sure that our van had a sliding side door that could stay open because they were often hanging out of it for the drive-bys. Yeah.
And keeping the camera that far from the road for filming, hanging out upside down, right on the floor of and loving every minute of it. And rightly so, because they know that little bit extra is just going to make it. Wow. And the photography was extraordinary on that, wasn't it?
Oh, God. I remember we would do a 3-hour detour just to get to a high enough point where we could get one GV, a general view and establishing shot of the coal-powered steam train going past. And so we drove 3 hours for, a 10-second shot.
Yeah, and that was before GoPros or anything like that, or little helicopters.
Drones. There were no drones.
Yeah,
there were no drones.
No. Yes, yeah.
I remember the opening pieces to camera were always the sort of the signature thing. The directors, they were thinking about the opening piece to camera from the very beginning. It had to be this great opening that would capture the eyeballs of the audience, something really dynamic. And they'd be thinking about it the whole time. Where's the best place to do it? Where's the best place to do it? And everybody always wanted, if they could, to get a helicopter. And that's when the producer would, often just exchange sexual favors or whatever just to get the helicopter because there was no other way to get an aerial shot.
Cowboys, Indians, vast desert, open road, fast food, UFOs. I always thought I'd have to travel outside my own country if I wanted to see something special. But sometimes you don't have to look any further than your own backyard. And what a backyard.
Yeah. I've seen your openers. Yeah, you're right. Brilliant. I mean, I wondered how you got such an incredible view.
Mexico!
I used to fucking hate open pieces to cameras.
You hated them? Why?
Doing them. Because it sets up the whole show, and so it has to be, like you're saying, perfect look and everything, and it's the most important shot. But because it was like a Shakespearean sonnet, which was so long and nothing of how I'd speak or in my language. So I'd have to. Felt like I read it like an actor, like Ian McKellen.
I'm in a place that has suffered more in the past decade than any other country, from famine, poverty and war. But things are changing. For the hardened traveller, this place has got everything. Amazing culture, breathtaking scenery, stunning wildlife, and more water than you can possibly imagine. Believe it or not, this is Ethiopia.
And like you say, everyone looking at you. You got the camera. Brazil was first one, and God, so you've got the camera there. You can see your own reflection in the camera. But bad enough everyone else in the boat just staring at you. Then you've got the camera, you staring at yourself. I couldn't do it. In the end, we had to go back, and I just went back with just the cameraman and the director. Oh, it was so easy.
Yeah, it's the most scripted part of the show, right?
Oh,
I mean,
man.
that was kind of the amazing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Megan, I don't know about you, but I was told by a lot of people who knew how television was made in the US. They said, do you know how lucky you are to have a job on television where you're not scripted?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting, I think, aspect of the experience. I don't know how it was for you guys. It's like, I am who I am. That's just kind of who I am. And I feel like each of you are too. And so then like friends and then people who would recognize me would say they really felt like they were traveling with each of us. Like there wasn't like, it was like, oh, we could be on this journey together. Like my friend Ian and I are like on this adventure and we're just sharing this experience.
So Megan, because you got onto the show, I mean, I'd been an actress or trying to be an actress for a while before I got the show. So I was sort of used to scripted stuff and, theater and memorizing lots of things, but you didn't come from that background. So what was your relationship to having to say stuff to camera? Did you sort of work it out in advance with the director? Did you write it down? As you got more comfortable, were you able to, did you just start sort of saying things spontaneously to camera?
At first, it was definitely collaborative with whoever was the director. Then there's also just always the spontaneous things that we're doing that we can't script it. And maybe if I'd read ahead and understood something bigger than the moment, I would try to integrate that or it would come up naturally. But for me, it was really just such an experiential process almost across the board. And then, yeah, for sure, the longer I did it, the more I was able to be like, oh, so this is what we need to get across here. Okay. But if it's heavily historic, I remember my last Globe Trekker was glamorously in the Rust Belt of the United States, which is kind of where I come from. So that was a bit strange. But I had a long historic piece in Pittsburgh. It was like 5 different long things, and I could not get it to save my life. And I was a little out of practice. It'd been a while, and it was just like the most painful long day. Yeah. It was like, was it 1876 or 1874? Or like I would just get tripped up. But it needed to be accurate because we were trying to disseminate information in a really quick way. Yeah. Those are not my favorite moments, nor my best moments.
Well, Ian, I think you really set the tone for me, and I think for every presenter, because you were just being yourself and speaking to camera, and you were so natural. And it was, I've heard people say that, that Anthony Bourdain's kind of manner and way of conveying things to camera, that was something that you really did and did so well, and kind of sort of that became the standard for the show. That's what the directors wanted. They wanted more of that Ian way of just being real, right?
I would get that. Could you do this more like Ian?
Oh,
Could
God,
you do this more like Ian or Justine?
Yeah.
Could you do it like Justine or Ian? I was like, no, I could try.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, mate, let's say now.
Yeah. I can feel the atmosphere changing after that question now. I can feel there's something going on there.
Well, when I was watching your show, Megan, I was thinking, okay, this is Megan's first show, and she is just one of these people who will say yes to everything. Have you always been that kind of person, Megan, growing up, where you were receptive to what was being offered to you?
I mean, I guess I grew up in a pretty small way, I grew up in the suburbs of Tampa. My first opportunity to kind of
that's Florida, right?
Tampa, Florida. Yeah. Okay. And I went to New York when I was 11 to study ballet for the first time. I had a scholarship. Wow. And that for me was like, whoosh,
that's crazy.
Doors blew open. Yeah. Everybody, different walks of life, backgrounds, food, smells, all of the energy of it. I was like, okay, there's a whole world out there. And so New York was kind of my first experience of that. But I don't know how I've been with both of you a little bit in the world, and I've seen how you are with people when there are not cameras on. And I find you're both curious and deeply caring and thoughtful, just good decent humans. And there's a quality, I think, that comes when you're traveling the way that we traveled. It's like meeting somebody. It's like, this is an honor, and I'm grateful to know you, and I want to know your story, and I want to be with you in a moment. And I've watched both of you do that in your own ways. And I have always kind of been like that too. Like even from like a young age, like curious about the neighbors and the people. And so I still have that. Like I'm still like somebody once, what did they said? It was pathologically friendly. So like I know everybody on my block. I know everybody at the bodegas. I ran into a guy from a bodega that I used to go to 20 years ago, and I couldn't believe he was in there. His name's Mohammed. He's from Yemen, and he looked at me and he was like, "How are you?" And I was like, there is no way this guy remembers me. But he did, because we just grow. I have this annoying phrase that I'm latched onto at the moment, which is we belong to each other. Because I see so much division. There's so much confusion and so much pain and anger. I'm like, guys, we actually belong to each other. And it doesn't matter to me what your background is or who you are. It's like, how do we find our way to what we share in our human selves? And so when I was doing Globe Trekker, every story, every moment, I was like, could it come through? Like, how do we help see our shared humanity? And I think when we did our job well, and when the show was coming through, that's what was on offer. And I really meant that. And I really cared a lot about that.
I wanted to ask you guys, like when I knew I was going someplace, like at the beginning, like my first few shows, I read the Lonely Planet Vietnam book cover to cover. I read the Lonely Planet La Ruta Maya book cover to cover. You know, I read other books. I watched, you know, what I could find at the time of a documentary. It was hard to find. I mean, there was no internet, right? So if you wanted to see something, you'd have to go to the library and find something on microfiche or a book. Or you'd find the distributor of a documentary you heard about, and then you'd call the distributor and ask if you could rent their VHS, and then you'd have to send them a check for $50, and then they'd mail you the VHS tape, and then you'd have 3 days to watch it. And
Even
then
I don't know what you're talking about now. Wow.
Seriously, this was like back in the day. If you wanted to watch a documentary that had been on television, you had to find the name of the distributor, which was not easy. There was no internet. You call the distributor by phone, telephone, landline. Hey, I really would like to watch this documentary. I'm making a travel show in Vietnam. I've heard that this documentary is really good. Well, we can send you VHS. Just send us a check for $50 as your deposit. But in any event, after a while, I decided to stop researching before I arrived someplace. I just wanted to arrive as ignorant as I truly was. And I wonder how you guys approached, you know, preparing for a shoot in a place that you'd never been, which was kind of every place you made a Globe Trekker, because very few people had been to those places.
For me, my prep was like definitely the guidebook, because the Lonely Planet had a lot of good history, and I would start there. And initially, like maybe something from an author. But the one thing I consistently did throughout and still do is I really try to check out what is the etiquette, what is rude, what is impolite that I wouldn't know that might catch me off guard. Like if I put my feet toward in a temple, like that's rude. Or in Japan, if you put your chopsticks in the hashi into the rice, it's symbolic of death. Or don't give somebody in the number of 3. Like I still try to be mindful of things like I might not be aware of that could be misperceived.
But also that would make great telly. You being told off because you put, what chopsticks like there? Or you're making drums out of them. No, I've got them here. Like, you know, they're things because everyone gives leeway anyway. Like, you know, if someone's come, they're not here. You're like, it's almost funny to them. It's like, look at them chopsticks.
Yeah.
And then they'll tell you, you know, you do it again, then it gets a little bit dodgy. But but that's how you find out, isn't it?
It's true.
To be pulled up on it and stuff like that.
But even if we wanted to prepare, we couldn't have like hit a button and like spent 3 hours watching video from that place. Like that just wasn't happening. So Megan, I saw the social media that you did from India. It was amazing to see you in India 25 years after you were last there. So tell us a little bit about what it was like 25 years later.
just before and in India, I was watching some of the West India original program because all of it was coming back to life in me. So as long and distance as it felt, and I haven't traveled like that in that way for a while, that it was all like, it was like I was nervous to travel. I was like, do I have my travel skills? Am I able to handle this level by myself? Because y'all know we were not alone.
Wow.
We had teams of people making things smooth. And when things were rough, they would make them smooth as best they could. And so they were really the ones that I was kind of guided by. So here I am with my daughter who's just 20. We arrive in Delhi. We arrive late. We just like check into the grottiest hotel that none of us would have wanted to stay in.
We're not really clear on what this is about, but that's our hotel. Hotel Godwin. It took 22 hours to get here. There was a massive rainstorm in Jeddah, in Saudi Arabia, so we had some extra time there. It was very beautiful. It was like a lightning thunderstorm. Yeah. And now you hear the sweet sounds of. And we got stuck in traffic on this block for about 10 minutes, about 20 feet from our hotel.
I would have had some judgments against me as a producer the entire time I was there. Like mad respect to everybody who ever produced a Globe Trekker, because they had to be so smart and able to not get ruffled and deal with crazy chaos along the way. Yeah, but we were there and I just kind of found myself dropping back into it.
At the grocery store.
We've got bread. We've got cookies, and a cute school kid. Noodles. Mango chutney.
And then I was obsessed with, I was curiously inquiring whether I could meet Jackie Shroff, who is a Bollywood star that I met in my very first Globe Trekker.
I was lucky enough to meet one of India's most popular actors, Jackie Shroff. How did you come to be an actor and get in this business?
Well, to start off, I was born in a slum.
In Bombay?
In Bombay. I started doing some odd jobs here and there, and I got spotted on the street. Someone said, "You want to model?" I said, "Why not? You give me money." And then after 3 years, someone else saw my ad and said, "You want to be an actor?" I said, "Why not?"
And he couldn't have been more gracious, more wonderful, but I was so scared. Imagine it's your first time on television. I'm nervous every day, and now I'm suddenly like sitting down trying to interview. I don't ever think I like interviewed anybody, but yeah.
That's why it works, because you can see that in every moment that you're on.
We're just winging it, kid.
I feel pretty starstruck right now. I mean, I've only seen a few Hindi films, but they're really fun to watch. And he's had an extensive career, and he's just kind of, a well-established actor. I just interviewed him. It's pretty cool. I know Jackie. I'm with Jackie. Jackie's just on the set right now. He'll be back in a minute.
Oh my God, I feel for Megan McCormick. She's so shy and nervous and goofy and like just straight off the prairies, just straight from the Midwest.
But it was beautiful. That's what made it. You could see all that.
In there, so But, I think that once we start filming, we're just in the moment. So I was not self-conscious during it. It's only after. And then I kind of remember just looking around like, this is wild. There is no part of me that ever could have imagined that I would have had that experience. Yeah. So then I was watching it late at night in this place in Mumbai. And I was like, I'm just going to put this on the internets and see what happens.
So I've got 48 hours left in Mumbai. Does anybody know anybody who knows Jackie Shroff? Do you think we could meet him? You never know.
My daughter tagged everything she could think of. Somebody who knew Jackie Shroff saw it. Wow. And I think his daughter actually saw the post. I think Ray tagged the family owned like some gyms or something. So she tagged the gyms. His daughter saw it. She must have said, Dad. And I had a clip of our original interview that I put online. And he saw our post on Instagram and he DM'd me. And I was like, I woke Rie up. It was like 1 a.m. I was like, Rie, Jackie Shroff's like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? What's happening? We can make this happen. It was really cool.
Rie, do the I'm with Jackie bit. I'm with Jackie. Jackie's just on the set right now.
My good
Look,
Lord.
people, I actually met the Jackie Shroff. Here he is. He's been so gracious. He gave me a little plant so that I get better oxygen. And he said beautiful things about life. And
It's just pleasure. I mean, it's soul cleansing to have met Megan.
You got it.
Megan after so long, 25 years.
Yeah.
And we promised to meet again after 25 years.
Yes.
Amen.
All right, thank you.
God bless you and all my love to you and your family and everybody. Just love each other. No fighting, just breathing deep and right.
He is an amazing human. He's actually that kind. Nobody has a bad word to say about him. He is so down to earth and so thoughtful. And I feel like it's almost cliche to say about somebody who's that famous that they're that nice. But we talked about the loss of his mother. We talked about where he grew up and how he grew up and how that gave him a perspective for the life that he leads now, that he doesn't take any of it for granted, that his children understand what it's like to come from the slums, because he did, and to actually live that life. And so he hasn't been eclipsed by the power or magic of his status. And so he really legitimately moves around the world being real and kind to everybody. It was
He's
such a good
even
feeling.
more chilled out now, it came across from your video. From the thing, he was chilled then, but, you know, that's amazing. He's so chilled and so
chilled.
cool. Yeah.
So good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 2 things I want to ask you, Megan, in wrapping up is, one is like, what are you working on now? And also, what is the sort of story you trot out at dinner parties? Like one story from your Globetrotter days.
What I'm working on now is, 8 years ago when my dad passed away, it was a very intense week that I felt ill-prepared for. And there were so many things that I had to decide and wish I'd had considered ahead of time. And so when I went through that experience, I felt this sense of conviction about not wanting other people to be as ill-prepared. So I trained as a death doula, and I've done a lot of volunteering in hospice and end-of-life care.
What's a death doula?
A death doula is like, there are birth doulas. So, right, it's like maybe you have a doctor or a midwife delivering the baby, but in many cultures, there was somebody who was kind of like between and among all of those roles. And it's not necessarily like a spiritual person, but a person to like really be in the human experience of what's happening. So a death doula is somebody that can serve in many different ways. Sometimes it's really practical. Sometimes it's creating ritual. Sometimes it's just helping family through the challenge of the moment itself, or sitting bedside and helping people know how to navigate death, because it is, especially here in the United States, kind of like something that is lost along the way. Medical death, you die in hospitals more than you die at home. It's a business, and it's just something we avoid so desperately, I think, culturally. And so there's this kind of new invitation to have more conversation around end of life.
Do you have do you have to train for that? So is there courses, or how do you?
Yeah. There's courses.
It must be a lot involved in that.
There are, and it can look different ways. Like I said, it can be something like real hands-on, or it can be somebody that, helps in the hospital, helps people make decisions, help people know what questions even to ask among themselves. Even to like the final days of like, okay, so somebody knows they have a terminal disease and they want to like have a conversation about what music do you want to hear? How do you want people to surround you? What is it that you wish would happen to your body after you go? Like real conversations that a lot of us just avoid. So I've been kind of like on a mission to have more conversations like that with people. And so
you want to be resuscitated. That's always a hard one.
Definitely. These are conversations that we should have long before the moment is on our doorstep with our loved ones, because once it starts, it's really emotional, right? We're trapped in like a very human instinct. But if we can have these in advance, and there's a lot of different platforms out there that can guide somebody through these things to consider, and makes it a little less challenging, because there's like, hey, mom, let's have these conversations about these things. So that's a big part of what I've been about. But like Globetrekker 100% influenced my perspective on so many things. It's like, I remember being in West Africa, and it was my 4th show, and we were filming a funeral.
Some guys from the coffin shop who were buying a coffin invited me to their grandfather's funeral. And that's what's going on. It's a big celebration. Everybody's dancing in special outfits.
And it was a massive party, and everybody's drinking and celebrating, and it's wild. I was like, what is going on? And then as we moved toward the inner sanctum where the man who died was lying open casket, the party went into like this uptick of a sound of wailing. And so when we opened the door, I was surrounded by this depth of this wailing of the women and of the people in the room who were allowed and invited to like really express their grief. And I come from a culture where everything is kind of quiet, and we eat small, tiny sandwiches and small quiches, and we maybe cry a little bit, and then we move on. So to be in a place where to express one's grief was so powerful, it changed me. It completely changed my perspective. And so that's one of the reasons we went to India. It was like, hey, how can we perceive death differently? What are different ways so that we maybe live our lives differently and also have compassion? So I'm on a big tip about compassion.
Okay. Nice.
So I've written a 5-part series called Dead Serious with Megan. And it's 5 different places in the United States, just kind of getting beneath the surface of it in a curious way. So that's what I'm working on.
Oh,
that's
gosh.
what I care the most about.
Bless you for taking that on, because, it does feel like this thing that the one thing we all know for sure is the one thing nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I was saying to a friend, who was like, why are you like this? What is this about for you? And my question to him was, after the hurricanes happened in Florida, right? A very divided place now, right? We've got everybody's in a different camp, and it's pretty divided. And I said, did anybody go around asking who you're voting for before they help their neighbor? Of course not. That's not what we do. That's not our human instinct. People would help each other, and then maybe 3 months later, the opposing teams are back. But in the moment, we come together. And so that is, I was like, the whole point of this show is like, we care about each other fundamentally. And when you're in real distress, I'm going to show up for you. And it doesn't matter as much what I think of your beliefs. Like, let's just be human together. Yeah. So death is a great leveling field. And I feel like a great opportunity where we can find our compassion within ourselves at a time where it seems to be almost
in
threatening.
Short supply.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So that's
and needed quite a lot.
So I'm curious, in your training as a death doula, what are you also encouraged to have people talk about money and what's going to be left and all of the stuff that seems to really create such bitterness?
That happens all the time, even in close-knit families.
Oh, gotcha.
Where people have heard mom say different things. Like my sister and I have it. It's like she hears one thing from my mother and I hear something different. And I'm like, I don't think that's what she said. So if you have an app and you've had this conversation, or you even make a video, or you have a recording of the loved one saying, should I develop serious dementia? This is how I want it to play out. And we all have it on record together. Then it can create less tension and less fracture within families.
It's amazing because it's the sort of thing I would never thought of. That you'd have someone like you that to get everyone together and have a little chat
Facilitate.
I knew it was a long one. I thought I'm going for it.
More syllables, Ian, every day.
Yeah. But it is. It's a thing that we didn't think about that needs to be addressed, and to make everything so much easier. Lovely. Well done, because that's so needed. God.
Yeah. And it's one of the things too, like that one of the gifts of Globetrekker for me in my personal life is like, wow, I've been to enough places and see that we believe things, there are different cultural symbols and rituals and rites. So when I was doing a lot of volunteering in hospice and palliative care, I would go into a room and I would look for anything that would maybe tell me a little bit about where somebody was from. Like, oh, there's a Puerto Rican flag and a cross. Oh, this room, they're from India and there's a different iconic image. And then just kind of meeting people where they're at and seeing how their belief was carrying them through the challenge of this.
Yeah.
So if you believe you're coming back again, maybe you're excited. Maybe you lived with such good karma. Maybe somebody's cultivated such good karma that maybe they're on the path to liberation, as opposed to other ones where it's hellfire and brimstone because you're a sinner. It's like there are so many different ways that we could interpret that. The next great adventure. Wow. I'm all about this adventure. And I'm also super curious about the next great adventure.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, Megan and
love.
Ian and Justine, sadly, the three of us must say goodbye. So, Megan, how do you think this is our first vodcast recording? How do you guys think it went? Three of us talking from different parts of the world.
Weird. But the weird thing is it's just because I don't even know you two, because we never really met. So this is the first time that we've all had a chance to actually chat and express different things, views, feelings and that. So it's like, wow, almost not too late, but it's a shame it didn't happen 30 years ago or 20 years ago, but it doesn't matter as long as you get there in the end. So I've loved it, absolutely loved it. And because we've got that shared insanity, like you said, Megan, about when you meet someone that filmed a show with you or who was with the show, it's almost like an army situation. You've been through together. So you've got this little bond, because you can't express or explain that to anyone else. That intense month of madness. And we had it so many times. It was such a privilege. So we know what we're talking about together. We're making those things just brilliant.
Well, for me, I love seeing the two of you because, like I said, I watched the show before I was on the show. And so you two were just ahead, and I love and respect both of you. So this is a great thing. And when you've got a few more under your belt, I think you should have me come back and let me interview the two of you.
Oh, yeah.
I get to be in control, and I get to ask all of the questions and put both of you on the spot.
Yes.
I want to do that. Woohoo!
Anyway, thank you all for joining Ian, Justine, and Megan on our Looney Planet. And there's more coming.
There sure is, if you can handle it.
Season 1 of Our Looney Planet was made possible thanks to a grant from the Hosravi Family Trust. Our Loonies, thanks for sending us your videos. Mrugesh Thakur, Joseph Tyndall, Pratik Srivastava, Rajiv, Mike Matira, John Miles, Nikhil Patel, Saurabh Chowdhury, Heather Monroe, Craig Richardson, Joe Guzman, Robert Paul, Viveka Gadfi, Richard Logan, Ignacio Gill, Abigail, and Era Orozco. Season 1, Episode 1. Globetrekker fans unite! It's Megan McCormick. Hosts Ian Wright and Justine Shapiro. Guest Megan McCormick. Producer Fuad Ahmad. Editor Gregory Sharpin. Sound mix Dan Olmsted. Cuckoo Studios, Berkeley, California, USA. Haverhill Music Hub, Haverhill, UK. To those from Pilot Productions who helped create Our Looney Planet, Ian Cross, executive producer, and Deb Marrow Cox, Ann Bogart, Sarah Blinko, Sanyukta Shrestha, Helen Roberts, Richard Howard, Chris Hampson, Amanda Kramer, Ian Ritchie, Neville Farmer, Megan McCormick, Emma Cowsack, Angela Gorley, Rachel Heaton Armstrong, Andy Margetson, Lucy Cook, Binny Adams, David Tibbles, Sammy Sabiti, Nick Robbins, Nigel Kinnings, Lynn Mitchell, Georgie Burrell, Neil Harvey, Simon Niblett, Ian Shakaluga, Rick Lander, Peter Boyd McLean, and Tim Knight. With gratitude to Rachel Mercy Simpson and Berkeley Community College, interns Sunjun Kim, Martin Mercy, Matan Zeev, and Manny Cox, and Betsy Raitt, UC Berkeley School of Journalism, interns Nagar Ajayebi, Alicia Chang, and Zain Karam. Rob Burchell, The Hall, Media Facilities UK, the Center for Creative Exploration, Honor Bar, and CardioWithKara.com. To Jeanette MacDonald Wright, Ree Aldis, Jackie Shroff, Tony and Chesney Mumford, Martin and Mr. Monk, Paul Murray and Karim Kripa, David Aralovitz, Lauren Heyman, Vicente Franco, Jim Capobianco, Lucy Kaplan, Mateo Evaristo Shapiro Bolado y Carlos Bolado, Tony Cataldo, Kara Herring, Anae Kim, Stephanie Mackley, Marcia and Paul Massey, Paul Zantz, Chaz Blank, Michael Wilson, Mika Rouskin, Elizabeth Gray, Catherine Girardeau, Jason Rainier, Rupa Ramamurthy, Laura O'Brien-Crisp, Guy Reingold, and Claudia Erzinger. With gratitude to those we've lost, Jonathan Leffman, Stephen Luscombe, Paul Pierre Standifer, Leslie Weiner, Roger Whitby, Nick Corey Wright. For Matlana, executive producer Justine Shapiro, series producer Liliana Cortez, producer and editor Gregory Sharpin, producer and editor Thomas Lorne, producer Stephen Lenhoff. Title animation Zazie Capobianco Aerial Contrivance Workshop, media management and website Sage Bruscia, bookkeeper Craig Paul, fundraising strategist Bree Castellini, legal Richard J. Lee Law Group, and Madison Carcenti, DCP Law. Produced by Matlana, a 501c3 organization. Matlana's board members are Deirdre English, Jocelyn LaRue, Jenna Resner, and myself, Justine Shapiro. Making our loony planet a little less lonely, one podcast at a time. Yes, we do see the irony.